Hi everybody, Carl with Hyrel. Over the years we've had lots of people experimenting with different materials, and one of the materials that's become very popular is two-part epoxy systems, or epoxy systems that have a photoinitiator in them. So the photoinitiator works in such a way that you can hit a specific wavelength of light onto the resin, and then it hardens. It's called crosslinking. And we actually coined the phrase COD, meaning crosslink on dispense. And that causes it, as it's coming out of the nozzle, to get hard almost instantly. There are a few exceptional companies out there that make silicones with a crosslinking system. One I've come across crosslinks 95% in 0.3 seconds. So you end up with a very firm object as you're printing, and it works great. So one of the problems or challenges is to find a specific light source that can be concentrated so we get a good crosslink velocity, the speed with which it crosslinks, and that's usually a function of the intensity of the light. So it's great to be able to focus down your ultraviolet light is what we use most commonly. 365 nanometer, get into your blues, you have 405 and 450 resins are also out there, nanometer resins that are sensitive to those light ranges. We have adopted the UVATA light pen. We purchase them and then we adapt them to fit onto the printer with a specially designed constant current. Whenever you run LEDs, you want to run them from a constant current, not from a constant voltage, because their resistance curve changes and they eventually become a weenie roast attachment and catch fire if you're not careful. Anyway, so I'll show you what I like to do. If you come up here, I'm going to turn off the light for a second here. And now you can see we have a syringe. I'm going to run this. I'll home it first, and then I'm going to run it to the park location. And you'll see this is the tip of our needle. And I want to see, this is my Uvata right here, my light pen. And this is focusable. You can actually adjust the focus on them. So you can bring them to a smaller dot or a larger dot. So what I'm going to do here is I will enable the power supply and then turn it on. And you can see my light dot right there. So that's where we're going to hit. We would like to have that tip of that needle right in the center of that. So I'm going to adjust this a little bit, but first I'm going to bring the bed up just so we can get it to where the nozzle. I'm going to grab my glasses here. I apologize. Sorry, people. When you get old, you got to have glasses. That's just the way it works. We'll get it somewhat close. And here you can see my light pen is not getting to the area where I would be printing. So you bring the nozzle up till it's just a couple millimeters from the tip, like that. And then we're going to adjust the nozzle. There. Now we're going to get a lot better. Now, there is actually a second screw that lets us push this in. You can see that. And voila. Now I have my light just where I want it. Now, in some rare cases, we need to bring light in from two directions. And in that case, we mount a second Uvata on our 5-position yoke, or these are actually able to mount next to each other. You can do two Uvatas, one on each side of this, and move this to the center. So you actually get a very nice beam up close. Okay, so now I will turn that off. And now I'm actually going to run a little code just so you get an idea. Here it goes. We always home everything before we start. And as it comes up and goes to its start position, there, now you can see your light beam is turned on. And that would be dispensing your resin, and the UV light would be cross-linking it as it comes out. Normally when you're using a resin, most of them can't handle this velocity. You're going to slow it down to around 600 pulses per minute, or 600 millimeters per minute. This one's printing at probably 1800, or I'll tell you in a second. It is printing at 1500. So this is about 3 times faster than you would normally print when you're laying up your resin. Now, one thing you can do with resins is if you're printing a shape, while you're doing the perimeter, slow down. And then while you're doing the infill, you can speed up because the infill itself is going to be constantly bombarded with that big, large circle of light. You can also move this further out in our 5-yoke system so that you can actually have a much further and a larger hole. And let's say after you're done, you would like to go ahead and complete cross-linking. So some people say, well, I would like to be able to have a big spot. That's not a problem. At the end of your print, you just put simple G code, G0, Z, and give it like 150 for 150 millimeters, and it will go down, and then your light pen will be far enough away, you'll have a nice big exposure out of it, and that will help to finish 100% of your cross-linking. Anyway, those are your tips and tricks. These are our new Uvada right here. I'm going to kill this job. And now everything is hunky-dory. I hope this was helpful to those of you who are working with cross-linkable materials. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid or don't hesitate to reach out to Hyrel. We're always happy to give you guys a Zoom call and explain things further. Have a great day.